Hello, darlings. My name is Kimberly Fleur. If we haven't met before, I work with consciousness, particularly quite high levels of consciousness, awakened beings, and new earth placeholders. And part of my journey has been moving through Earth School. And so this video is all about Earth School, what it is, the classrooms that women go through, because women go through them in one particular order and men go through them in a different order. And it's not logical, it's not top down or bottom up, it's not like that at all. There's a completely different random order that females go through them in for a particular reason, and men need to go through them in a different order for a very particular reason. And this was decided back in ancient Egypt times, when it was decided that human beings required a purification system to purify the body so that the spirit essence, the natural light, the natural order, the natural system could replace the traumatized one. And so that we could live as a truthful, honest, authentic expression of who we be. And in doing so, that eliminates struggle and sacrifice and lack and scarcity and mental illness and emotional trauma and emotional triggers and lack of physical resources, lack of abundance. It eliminates like not knowing what to do or how to do things, because if you see through the eyes of God, you always have clarity and you are a spark of God. So you have access to all this, okay? So it's kind of about becoming your God source creator self, which is all about, topics of creation, of manifestation, of healing trauma. And so there is a particular sequence to how we do this. And this is really, really important, because a lot of people dive into the healing world and they might tell stories to you like healing is just the journey of a lifetime. And it's really not. I can see how people see that, and I can see how people get stuck in that perception. But you don't have to live that way. That's not the only option. That's kind of working harder, not smarter, because the shadow is infinite. So if you want to face the shadow, your healing journey will be the journey of a lifetime, and you'll never arrive because you don't allow yourself to. So if you're going to do a healing journey, which almost all souls are being nudged and encouraged to do at the moment, whether they acknowledge it or not, that is the awakening call for all souls on planet Earth right now, because the planet has shifted from a third dimensional expression to a fifth dimensional expression. And if you don't change your frequency and your bandwidth to match her, it feels like mental illness. It feels like scarcity. It feels like struggle. And when you are in an energetic experience of survival, it's very hard to manifest what you want, because you end up manifesting more reasons to struggle, more scarcity, more survival, more lack, because that's what your body is declaring is true. So we're at a point in time and history now where souls are encouraged to self-heal, to remember how to self-heal. And that might look like finding a healer to walk beside you for a little while until you start to remember what healing looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, so you can start to feel the shifts in your body, so that you can start to be a bit more independent with your own self-healing work. That is what I do. That is what I have been doing for about 5 years now, with a little break in the middle there, because I was going through my own healing journey and needed to prioritize myself first. So let's talk about Earth School. This is specifically for females. Males don't do it in this order. I can talk about the male order at the end. So females chose to do for classroom 1 of Earth School. There's 7 classrooms because there's 7 chakras that need to be purified for the spirit to re-enter and occupy the chakra so that you can be in your body. Classroom number 1 is the crown chakra for females, and it's also the first chakra, classroom number 1, for men as well. The reason why we start with the crown is because it is the chakra where we can self-reflect, where we can start to have flexible interpretation of what's going on, where we can have awareness of our awareness. Without your crown chakra being open, you are very narrow-minded, very opinionated, very judgmental, and you're not a good learner. So the people who aren't very much in classroom number one, they're the sort of people who talk a lot of talk but don't walk the walk. They talk like experts all the time, but they refuse to be a learner. So people in classroom number one are very comfortable being a learner. They're uncomfortable going, okay, right, there's a situation playing out in my life right now. Maybe there's a bully going on. Maybe I'm being bullied. Instead of just going, I'm being bullied, full stop, sitting in the victim mentality, somebody in the crown chakra would go, all right, I'm being bullied. How am I a match to this? Why is it me having this experience? How am I letting this happen? So there's this ability to self-reflect and go, what's my accountability here? What am I doing here? So they can have this accountability and self-responsibility. And they start to have awareness of, I must be matching this somehow, some way. And they're able to kind of flip the finger on themselves and take the blame and go, maybe this is trying to encourage me to step more into my confidence. Maybe it's teaching me I have poor boundaries. Maybe if there's a bully in my outside world, it's because there's a bully in my inside world. And I need to do some meditation to get into theta brainwave state and find this bully that's playing out in my nervous system and my psyche and my brain and this bullying pattern within myself. And I need to metabolize it and I need to detox it from my system so that I am no longer having that bullying experience outside of me. So this is crown chakra sort of stuff. And of course, it's really important to go first because it's very hard to work with healers if you haven't started to awaken, because healers are going to flip all the fingers back on you. They're going to say, right, how are you a match to this? And they do it with love and they do it with compassion. But if somebody is like this, they are going to feel like they're being picked on. They're not going to go, oh, hang on, I'm not responsible here. I'm just the victim. So it's very hard to work with somebody who's got this shutdown response of, poor me, I am just the victim. So they kind of aren't ready for healing yet. They kind of need to have some crown chakra awakenings. They do need to dance around the surface. They are not ready for deep dives. A deep dive would have quite a catastrophic effect on them. It could cause absolute mental illness. They need to slowly awaken, dance around the edges. The sorts of people that it's very helpful to, you plant seeds with them, but you don't deep dive. You don't give them a big lecture about what the truth is. You just might role model, that you're taking responsibility, that you're doing some inner child work, that you're doing some shadow work, but you don't prompt them to, because they'll get more resistant. They'll get triggered and put up walls, and they won't like that. So you just got to be careful with the readiness there. So after women have done a little bit of time with self-reflection and self-accountability, and they've come out of that defensiveness, then they start to go into solar plexus, and this is classroom number 2. Now, the reason why women go into solar plexus in classroom number 2 is because women are the leaders, or they're more developed, like they've got more light technology, more light advancement, more light wisdom, more light circuitry, functionality, intelligence, in regards to the emotional body, and taking care of the emotional lane, as opposed to men. They're very good with the mental lane, physical lane, but women are the leaders of the emotional lane and the spiritual lane. That's where their expertise are. They are more advanced there. That's where they are in their leadership. Men are more in their leadership over here. So women tend to have this superiority complex that because women are spiritual, they are higher. That is not the truth. There is equal leadership on both sides. And so men do solar plexus as classroom number 7. It is the absolute last thing they do because it is actually extremely hard for them. It is not their design to sink deeply into their emotions and allow themselves to cry it out. How often do you see men regularly crying it out? Like, it's very hard for them to do. It's not natural. It's very painful. It's excruciating. It's horrible, and they will resist it so much. So they do the solar plexus last. That is so tricky for them, right? Women do it second because they need their emotional bodies online, and they need their emotional bodies online reasonably quickly in their spiritual journey. When your emotional body's offline, you're very numb, you're very disconnected, your body's cold and it's hard, and you can't connect to your psychic gifts, and information can try to come through your channel, but your chakras can't translate it. And so, like, you're not getting words, you're not getting senses, you're not getting threads of information. And so my solar plexus is a big translator of information for me. Information comes down my crown and it goes into my heart and solar plexus, and they computate the information, right? My brain doesn't make sense of the information. My chakra systems do. My solar plexus and my heart make sense of my information. My brains, my psychic brains are here. I get the information from here. Okay, so the solar plexus is where women learn particularly about emotional purging, right? So this is where there is so many healers. There are millions and millions of healers helping people through that second classroom, right? You might see them by doing like somatic response work, somatic body work. You might see them doing breath work, like spinal energetics, even like cacao ceremonies and full moon ceremonies where people are like doing journaling exercises to investigate emotions there, and there can be journal prompts and whatnot to really help women start to detox the solar plexus. When it's detoxed, it allows for this deeper connectivity where the spirit can really start to connect and click in with the body, and your attunement with higher frequencies, with your higher self, becomes clearer, and you can really start to feel how your body is a conduit and a channel. And so some of your psychic senses can start to come online after you've done a significant amount of your solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus chakra, I'm just making sure I'm not missing out on information. I'm just checking in with God. God shows me this is the classroom where there's lots of boundary type soul exams, because a lot of your leaky energy will be connected to other people via the wounds. So it's like about attachments. Where are you still holding attachments to your mother, to your father, to your ex-partners, to people in your life? This is where you really get encouraged to start to reclaim your independence and your power. So the visual I'm receiving right now is a solar plexus, like a kitchen colander with all these holes in it. And so it's kind of about like reclaiming the solar plexus so it can hold your spirit essence, and it acts as like quite a nice stabilizing part of the channel to have that online. And secondly, when it's online, you really do feel that forward momentum. You really do start to feel that drive, energy of wanting to improve yourself, wanting to put yourself first, wanting to improve your life, wanting to be better. And almost like my solar plexus holds me accountable. And I love that about my body. Beautiful. So then the females go into the heart chakra. So the heart chakra is often turned off until a soul decides, I've done enough of the crown chakra, I've done enough of the solar plexus, and now I'm ready to start to investigate my heart. And so they'll turn the heart chakra on and get curious about what damage was done here, what trauma was locked away in here. And so the heart chakra is a massive, massive chakra to look at. Lots of people quite often just choose to get up to the heart chakra. They have no desire in this lifetime to go through all classrooms of Earth School. They just really, really, really want to get to classroom number 3 because they really want to heal their heart and have their heart back online so that they can actually sense like joy, freedom, liberation, this lightness in life, rather than living in this shut down fear response all the time. When the heart is open, you don't get scared. You don't get wobbled. You can spend days, weeks, months, years with your heart open. And all these things can externally be playing out. And you don't get scared and you don't shut down. You can stay present. And it just doesn't touch you. It doesn't touch you mentally. It doesn't touch you emotionally. It doesn't jar against your nervous system. You don't spiral down into anxiety response or anything like that. And so allowing the heart, when it actually opens, it's like a crystalline structure. It crystallizes open. Okay. So before that, it's like open, shut, open, shut, open, shut, open, shut. Good day, bad day. Good morning, bad morning. And you keep doing this, and it is exhausting. Your body just gets so exhausted and fatigued and burnt out all the time. And it really shows you where you're looping, right? When your heart is actually crystallized open, you don't have high highs and low lows. You don't have the extremes. You have more steadiness. You have more peace. Your inner channel is more stabilized and you don't feel so crazy all the time. Okay, so heart's all about there's all sorts of things in the heart. It's connected a lot to guilt, shame, feeling sorry for people, worthiness, like lovability, self-value, and enoughness, and likability. I've said value, self-belief, and I guess like knowing that you are here for a reason. That also starts to come online in the heart chakra as well. And just generally speaking, self-love, not needing other people to validate you, because you are your own medicine. You are giving yourself that love and that recognition and that self-confidence that was here. So lots to work on in the heart chakra, and lots of inner child work as well in the heart chakra. I am being asked right now to create 21 universal healings for the heart chakra. That means they're just soul exams. Universal healings means soul exams that everyone has to sit, because everyone has these collective wounds. So because there's so much in the heart chakra, that's a little resource I'm being channeled to create at the moment, as a supporting resource for people. Classroom number 4 is the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is really where you start tapping into your why. Like why you came, your purpose, your medicine, your modality. It is very fiery, it is passionate, it is alive, it is primal. It's about, it's really about like the wild woman, the primal woman, and her fire, and that primal, like earthy essence starting to merge with your spirit. It's also a very penetrative chakra. Like if you think of it as quite a like the masculine genitals and the erection, and how it's like so arrow like the penetration of the field, because it's really about penetrating the creation space, not just for people to be spiritual and connected and have intuitive guidance, but to actually take and harness that guidance and create a system with it that can help other people. It's really where your business information and documents start to come online. So a lot of people hide their purpose from themselves, their dharmic path or their purpose path, their purpose activations, their business, how they want to get paid to be them, because that is available if you chose it in this lifetime. Not everyone did. But it's quite easy to get paid to be you, because you, in your potency, have unique gifts and talents. You're not a newbie soul. You've had multiple lifetimes where you have operated in your genius and known yourself, and you can bring those activation codes through and remember them. And it's like you did your university, you did your courses already. You don't need to do more. It's already done. You just bring them through. So this is the sort of stuff that happens in the sacral chakra activations. It's a lot of getting ready for business. If you choose it, you don't have to choose it. So yeah, a lot of people say, why haven't I found my purpose yet? I don't know why I'm here yet. It's because you're not in classroom 4 yet. Okay, that information starts to come online and become available for you in classroom 4. With my mentorship clients, I don't take anyone on who's not in classroom 4 because your body will reject your business. Your body won't hold your business. It won't hold it sustainably. It might hold it for a month, it might hold it for 3 months, but it will eventually crumble and fall. Because the architecture isn't there, the purity levels aren't there, the alignment levels aren't there. There won't be enough information. It's like trying to put a roof on a house that hasn't got enough scaffolding. Like you require the scaffolding to be there. It truly is like building a house. Building a business is the same, except you're doing it in your auric field. Your spirit is doing it. You're doing it with, you need the geometry fields online to support your business. You need the sound fields online to support your business. You need the light fields online to support your business because all the channels run through them, right? A business is channeling. That's what it is. It's channeling money into a marble run structure that you have coded from past life geniuses, where you have known and been in your medicine and you've brought it through, implemented the architecture here in the energetic realms, in the sound realms, in the geometry realms, in the light realms, in your auric field, in your chakra system. From there, you knew what physical platform it wanted to be on, what social media platforms it wanted to be on, what sort of layout and formatting it required, if you needed ads, if you needed to market, if you needed branding. Sometimes this is important, sometimes it's not. It's not something you have to decide. It was already decided. It's already known. Okay, depending on what you already chose, it's already invented. Okay, so that sort of information starts to come online in your sacral chakra workings. And there's a lot of, I find there's a lot of masculine, feminine work in the sacral chakra, a lot of men hating women and women hating men, and men resenting women and women being fearful of men, and women being fierce and defensive and pushing the masculine away. So that's really important work in the sacral, because you need the woman's cosmic womb online to be able to support birthings and manifestations and gestations of birthing projects and information that actually wants to come into form, and supporting the pregnant woman and the pregnant lady, and then rebuilding the masculine, because usually he's fatigued, exhausted, and crumbled, and not only requires purification work, but actually rebuild architecture work, where you need to rebuild, meaning download the divine masculine that got separated, which is so common because people generally think patriarchy is bad, toxic masculine is bad, and they've put that as like an umbrella term over all men, including God and including your own divine masculine. And that's like shut them down, broken them down, disconnected them, and unplugged them. So they're not even online. Okay, so there's lots of sacral work, and that's some of the sacral work that we do there. From there, women go into the root chakra, which is classroom number 5. Classroom number 5 is probably my least favorite classroom. I have not completed it, and I choose not to complete it in this lifetime because it's quite uncomfortable. The root chakra is associated with the conception to 7 years of age period in your life. So it's really the child, the inner child, and you will have awareness of just how few memories you have of that period of time. So when you do the root chakra, it's actually a lot of hidden memories that you didn't know you didn't know. It's things that completely new information that can be really startling, unsettling. And if you don't do the root chakra in very, very safe spaces, it can make you feel like you're going mentally ill. It can feel like you're having mental illness days. A lot of mental illness is connected with the root chakra, and like neurological damage done in the early years. There's just lots of secrets, you could say, secrets, dark secrets tucked away in there that you kind of didn't really want to know. But it's really beneficial knowing that. And so, yeah, and because it's the root chakra, like it's a lot of survival things. If there's sexual abuse, it tends to be in the root chakra. It's very typical. I've done a lot of sessions now where women were sexually abused in the early years of life and they had no idea. Absolutely no idea that they were sexually abused. And it can be very unsettling to learn when you're in your 40s that your uncle or your father or a family member sexually assaulted you when you were 1 year old and when they were changing your nappy or something like that. So it's that type of information. And um, I'll share a personal story. I've been doing healings like that and witnessing it, and I always said, oh, thank goodness that that never happened to me. And yet, when I went and did my root chakra exams, I was sexually abused at 6 months at my doctor's appointment when I went to get my 6 month needles, and the doctor took me into a side room. And and I'm so glad that I did that self exam. Of course, I had no idea. The memory was recorded and tucked away in my root chakra until I opened it and got to process it. And that meant I saw all the visuals, I saw all the furniture in the room, I saw the doctor, I saw the weighing table, I saw everything. My body remembered everything. And I just got to finish the emotional process that played out. Now, that was so important for me to do. Why? Because the shock of that experience had a physical manifestation of illness on my body, which would have been schizophrenia in my 60s. So I was destined, I was going to have schizophrenia in my 60s. Now, Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron were in the room, and I saw them with me when it was happening, and they put shields over me to limit the damage so that it, instead of happening at 60, they pushed it forward into my 80s. So I would have got schizophrenia in my 80s had they not been there. So I share that because I kind of want to soften the experience a little bit if it's a little bit perhaps shocking for you to hear that or receive that. In these situations, we are always protected in ways that we don't always see. And so because I got to process that, I processed out and detoxed out schizophrenia as a potentiality on my timeline forevermore. So I'm not going to get that evermore. Not in this lifetime, not in the next lifetime. It's impossible because I processed that memory. Okay, so a lot of that sort of situations that you do see in the root chakra, they can be very uncomfortable, a lot of abuse in there, and abuse to children, which is very uncomfortable. So with the root chakra, I chose to do only what I needed to do to get what I needed to get out of there, but I chose not to do everything. Again, you could face the shadow forever and you'd still find more. I did what I needed to do to get through my root chakra exams, and then I chose to move on. So after the root chakra exams for females, you go into the throat chakra. The throat chakra is all about expression, purity of expression, and speaking the truth. It's important to differentiate here that your truth is different from the truth. The truth, you could say, is like God's truth. And there's lots of different language, dialects that people choose to talk from. Some people talk very strongly from a dialect of purpose, and some people talk very strongly from a dialect of their soul, and some people talk very strongly with a dialect of God and the heavens. And so the throat chakra is all about like finding your dialect. And so you have that clean, clear expression and communication, and that's not only to express to others, but it's actually your manifestation tool, because what you speak manifests. This is like your magic wand. And so the throat chakra is really important for not misusing the magic here, which means not judging, not being opinionated. It's either truth or it's not truth, right? You can see that opinions have nothing to do with truth. They're not the same thing at all. It's either truth or it's not truth. Judgments don't come into that. Opinions don't come into that, because an opinion's like something of the mind that you're perceiving and having an opinion about. The truth stands there with or without your mental interpretation of it. Very different. So throat chakra is about the truth, expression of the truth, and that channel. And it also helps you to I want to say like interpret language and audio in the field as well, psychically, being able to read and find the right language and then communicate it. It's about reclamation of your own voice as well, and where you might have allowed or given permission to other people to do decisions, make decisions for you. The throat chakra is huge. I find it comes up in conjunction with all the other chakras because it's about choice. And essentially, consciously, unconsciously, willingly or unwillingly, we chose so much of our experience. So yeah, throat chakra is a big one. It's an interesting one. And I personally found it works in conjunction with every other classroom. It's also about being able to speak without being fearful of judgment, without other people judging you. That's another big soul exam that you do there. It's about not being afraid to be seen. It's about allowing your voice to pave the path, and anyone who doesn't resonate with it, like letting your voice pierce the space to almost like push them out of view, out of your reality, so that you can keep moving forward. It's about conviction there. Beautiful. Yeah, I feel like I've said everything that wants to be said. And lastly, females do the third eye. So this is the last classroom for females. It is classroom number 2 for men, because they require their mental body to be very strong. And women do this last. So, what's the throat? What do you want to talk about here, God? Yeah. So I see it as the mental body. I see it as awareness. I see it as having broad perspective, and I see it as systems and processes. So I'm seeing it like, how do I say that? Containers. I'm seeing how information wants to be contained into blocks and systems and processes. And I'm laughing because I get frustrated why my clients can't do this sometimes. And it's because, it's classroom number 7. Women chose to do this last, men chose to do this first. So they do it very well. And my third eye is particularly strong. For me, it's one of my more advanced light technologies. So I find this easy. And I can get frustrated sometimes with people who don't do this, because I expect everyone to think and see the way that I do. So that's my own thing. That's why I'm laughing. Yeah, so it's about seeing containers of knowledge, because women tend to can get really like fluffy and woo-woo and vague with their spirituality. And it's very hard to let things land and actualize when you're like that. In actuality, it's very mathematical, it's very scientific, and things do want to be chunks and containers and contain it up in systems. Instead of having like one big ocean of consciousness, you can chunk it up into systems, which then allows for flow state. So that might be like a service. in your business, where it's like, okay, the first 5 minutes is a chunk of time where we're going to introduce ourselves to each other and say hello and how's your day going and settle in and calm the nervous systems. And then we're going to go into the second container of information, this next chunk. And in this 10 minutes, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be guiding them with these particular questions, right? That's the second container. And then we go into the third container of information where we're getting deeper into the psyche now, and we might be going into some breath processes, right? So this is how you container consciousness. And so the third eye is very good at seeing the containers and the systems and the processes, the shapes, the geometries. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I see it so clearly, and I'm trying to find the right language to communicate it. Um, Third eye is obviously about clairvoyance as well, visioning, receiving pure information that way for articulation, and awareness and understanding. Um, a woman gets really powerful when she's done these two chakras last, because she's very good at asking questions and then seeing the answer. So she can become like, it's like Google, right? You can type the question into Google and then you see the answer. Her body becomes a computer. So women who have done the sixth and the seventh classroom, they are very, very self-sufficient. They don't need psychics to tell them about what the future looks like, because they can just ask and see. They don't require healers so much because they can type the question in and see what it looks like here. Like, they really understand how to use their body as the internet and the computer system, and that is what the body is, right? That's the truth of it. So yes, they are the classrooms. After you've done the 7 classrooms of Earth School, you then go to Octave 8 if you choose that, which is about this chakra up here. And then you can go to chakra, and the next chakra above that is Octave 9. And when you're in Octave 9, that's when you can start to study your goddess exams. You can't access them before then. Um, I am in that classroom and I have started my goddess initiation exams. I'm in my entry level goddess stages right now. And so, yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that's some information for you to help you understand the logical process of Earth School. You're welcome to tune into your body and ask, like, which classroom did you really, really want to get up to in this life? The more that you do, the harder your life is, because you're choosing to witness more and more triggers, more and more baggage, more and more blockages. And so people who just choose to go to classroom 3, they tend to have quite an easier life. People who go to classroom 4, they tend to have an awesome, amazing, easier life. Like, it's not necessarily better to do more. That's not the truth of it. It is harder. But for some souls, they just like are so old and they're so ancient, and they just really want to get it done and return to the purity of that who they be, and they don't want to do another lifetime. And so they're the ones who like really signed up to go the long haul, get it all done in one lifetime, because they didn't want to come back. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you think. Let me know what resonates. All the best, darlings.